The next element is relational elements. So which gives the interrelationship of shapes. This group of elements governs the placement and interrelationship of the shapes in a design. For suppose in which if we consider some design, some of they are to be perceived like direction and position. Some of them are to be felt. For suppose space, we have to feel. Gravity, we have to feel. So let us see these elements of design. I mean to say the relational elements in detail. What are these? So as I said, direction. Okay. The second would be position. Then space and gravity. So in which these two elements are to be perceived and these two elements are to be felt. Let us see how these are. Okay, so the first relational element is direction. Direction is nothing but what? It is a shape, direction of a shape depends on how it is related to the observer or related to the some reference frame. Okay, so here I'm considering the same shape, okay, with respect to this reference frame, how these shapes are oriented. Okay, so the orientation of these shapes gives you the direction with respect to the references. Okay, so let us consider this first shape is parallel, and the second shape which has in some orientation, and the third shape which also has in some orientation with respect to the reference frame. So this is how the direction, I mean to say the relation of the shape, it is giving in the form of direction. The same way, let us consider the next relational element is position. Okay, how a position of a shape will be identified? The position of a shape is identified by its relation to the frame or a structure. For suppose here two shapes are there. Okay, so let's consider a rectangle and which is inscribed with a circle. Okay, so in the first case the circle is inscribed at the top right corner. Okay, in this second figure the same circle only which is positioned almost center to the rectangle. In the third case the circle is positioned or inscribed in the rectangle at a bottom corner. Okay, so this is how the position which gives the relation between the frame or structure. Let us see the next relational element, that is space. Okay, space is nothing but what? Any shape. Okay, these shapes of any size, however small or bigger, they occupy some space. The space can be occupied or left blank, right? Okay, so if you see a plane is there and I'm considering the plane at some distance. Okay, visually if you see, you can see these two as two planes, but if you try to identify the space occurred or space occupied in between these two planes, see the representation how it is giving. Okay, now you can identify some space, it is available in between those two planes, and it is like a cube structure it is becoming. Okay, so this is nothing but the space occupied. It may be occupied or it may be left blank. Okay, it can also be flat or illusory to suggest some depth. Okay, this is how the space of the relational elements. Okay, the next relational element would be gravity. So how this gravity will be represented? Gravity is nothing but what? It is sense. As like space, how we do feel, we have to sense the gravity. It is not visual but psychological. For suppose, see, as we are pulled by the gravity of the earth, we tend to attribute heaviness or lightness, stability or instability to individual shapes. Okay, so here I'm just giving one example. Okay, so let us say this is the reference frame, or you can say this is the floor. Okay, so with respect to this floor, if you place the object as it is, okay, it is comes down, then you can say this object is stable. The same way, this is rotated by 90 degrees, and if you place the object as it is, then you can say this is stable, right? Okay, but now if you see the third object, if you place this object as like existed as it is on the floor, then definitely you say that it is unstable. And also, in order to lift, this is the object, and this object is to be placed or oriented like this, then definitely you must have applied some sort of force, right? Okay, that is opposite to the gravity of this object. Okay, so it is nothing but what? That you have to sense the gravity. It is not the visible one, may be pulled by the gravity of the earth, right? So these are the four elements in elements of design of relational elements: direction, position, space, and gravity. Let us see the next category of elements of design. Okay, next category is practical elements. After this conceptual, visual, relational, then the fourth one, it is practical elements. So what is this practical elements? The practical elements underlie the content and extension of a design. They are beyond, of course, the syllabus, but a designer should understand the practical elements. So if you see these practical elements, I mean to say in the real-time environment, how the objects are appearing, how you can make represent these objects. So these practical elements would be of convey of representation, okay, or it may be conveying some sort of meaning, or it may convey some functionality of the design. Let us see how these are appearing in practical elements: representation, meaning, and function. So this representation is nothing but when a shape is derived from the nature, okay, it is natural object, or it is like a man-made shape or artificial, we can say. Okay, it is representational, right? The representation, it may be some sort of realistic, or it may be for stylish, or it may be some near abstract. Okay, and the second practical element would be meaning. So meaning is present when the design conveys a message, right? Okay, and the third practical element would be function. Function is present when a design is to serve a purpose. So this is the three practical elements. Okay, so now we ended with elements of design, that is conceptual design. What is conceptual design, and what are the various elements in which, what is visual elements, and what are the various elements in visual design. In the same way, what is relational elements, and what are the elements in which, as well as at the last we also focused on practical elements.